Philadelphia Avenue. Turn left on East Philadelphia Avenue.
There's a Jeep like mine. Light doesn't last long.
In 2¼ miles, turn left on Legault Road.
Come out and support that as well. Perhaps even the U.S. eventually.
In 1/2 mile, turn left on Legault Road.
He is seeking to avoid the U.S. getting involved in the conflict out of concern that this would lead to a wider war with Russia between NATO and Russia, the U.S. and Russia, and possibly involving nuclear weapons. It is a very serious risk. We have to respect the judgment that
Well, these trucks are very expensive on fuel, these pickup trucks. Just ask Oscar, he knows the price.
See that any strike into Polish territory or airspace, intentional or unintentional, is an attack on NATO.
Look, all I will say is that if Russia attacks, fires upon, takes a shot at NATO territory, the NATO alliance would respond to that.
I mean, what would that look like, Ambassador Volker? And I imagine there'd be a lot of discussion over exactly what it is that triggers Article 5.
Right. I think that you've really hit on a very difficult question for NATO, because if, for example, it is an accidental strike, we're trying to hit the base in Ukraine, one missile goes into Poland, NATO's going to have a tough
Continue on
conversation about
Layfield
how
Road.
we respond. I think it is incredibly important that any attack, intentional or not, is responded to directly against Russian forces. Because otherwise it starts to set a precedent that they can do something and we don't respond. So we need to respond even in the unintended attack scenario. What NATO would have a discussion about is proportionality. What is appropriate to do?
Yeah, remember President Biden saying just the other day that we would protect every inch of NATO territory. And we all hope that that is not a comment that gets tested, but in the world we're living in, it could certainly be the case. Ambassador Wolfowitz, thank you very much. Good to have you here, sir.
My pleasure.
So as we wait to hear what the Pentagon has to say about all that we were just discussing, look at this video. This man just walking down the street in Kyiv and the explosion that happens down the street. He apparently was okay, but the reports are that 2 others were killed nearby. Colleague who was with him, Juan.
I saw him being shot in the neck, and we got split, and I got pulled into the...
Terrifying situation as that plays out, and our reporters, including our own, are in very tough positions right now. In moments, Ukrainian parliament member Alexei Goncharenko, who's arming himself to defend his capital.
People like me, I'm a civilian person, I'm a member of the parliament, but I also took my arms in my hands, and I'm sure we can hold our city, and we can defend our city.
Such resilience. We hear this from every one of those members of parliament. First, let's go to foreign correspondent Trey Yanks, reporting live from Kyiv. Hi, Trey.
Sandra, good afternoon. Russian forces are getting closer and closer to this capital city. We've heard the explosions in the distance, that Russian shelling, as Russian fighter jets try to target Kyiv from the air. Also, Ukrainian air defense systems in play today. You can see from this video at a location this morning, an apartment complex where 2 people were killed and nearly a dozen injured after a Russian shell slammed into this building. Firefighters rushing in looking for survivors, trying to get the scene under control, and this is really what we are seeing play out throughout the capital today. Another location, the video you saw there, a Russian missile slamming into the sidewalk, killing at least 1 person and injuring a handful of others. These scenes of destruction and devastation in places like Kharkiv, the 2nd largest Ukrainian city, and Mariupol in the south are starting to play out here as Russian forces get closer by the day. Now in Mariupol, we are getting some new drone video that shows the level of destruction, this black smoke rising up from the horizon, and the devastation to residential areas, the result of indiscriminate Russian shelling. We brought to you earlier this tragic update of a pregnant mother who was carried out of that maternity hospital in this southern city. The Associated Press reports today that she has passed away, and it just gives you a real understanding of the civilians who are caught amid this war as Russia pushes forward with their invasion, and at this point they have shown no sign of letting up as they target the capital city. John, Sandra?
Trey, it's Martha. I'll take it back. You know, we all watched that woman. I think it's so heartbreaking for all of us because we saw her carried out of that maternity hospital, and we're hopeful that she would be okay. It's just a horrific story, and it's just one of so many that we see happening on the ground. Trey Yanks, thank you very much. Always good to see you. So Ukrainian parliament member Alexei Goncharenko joins me now from Kyiv. Sir, thank you very much for joining us. Well, tell us the latest of what you're seeing on the ground there from where you are.
Right, because that was his job to cover the situation in Ukraine, and that is so important for our people and nation. So thanks to you and to your team that you are doing this for the whole free world. Thank you. Speaking about the situation in Kiev, there were 3 bombings today. I was in place of all 3 bombings. 3 civilians were killed, 14 were injured, and these were just civilian areas. Civilian building, residential building with more than 100 apartments there. Just 100 meters from school, just a crossroads in the center of the city where just 1 passing man was killed accidentally, absolutely. So Putin is not looking for military targets in Ukraine. So that's why it's so important for us to receive weapons, to have a possibility to defend our women and children like it was in Mariupol. Yes, there's a pregnant woman, she died with unborn child, and that is so awful. And that's something we could prevent if Ukraine already would have these aircrafts, air defense, Patriots, American Patriots, missile systems, to protect our skies. We don't ask for your soldiers, your boots on the ground, your pilots in the skies, but just weapons to save people like this lady who is now dead, like your correspondent who is now injured. So that's what's going on here.
Yeah, we've already made such a big commitment in javelins and stingers and money. So I think it's hard for some people to understand what the difference is between also providing the surface-to-air missiles that would be helpful at this point, because it doesn't seem like it should change the dynamic of what our commitment already clearly is. And so there are a lot of people who feel strongly that should happen. I was reading a military assessment of what the future looks like for Kyiv, and that it could be surrounded in about 2 weeks' time by Russian tanks, by Russian artillery. Do you see that from what you're seeing on the ground? And what's the outlook for the next 2 weeks in Kyiv from where you are?
I'm not military general, so just now I'm just an ordinary soldier in territorial defense, speaking about this. But what I do know, that Putin first said that it will take 2 days to take Kiev, then 4 days. Then it was reports from American officials, from some sources, that they gave us 96 hours more. But as you see, the third week is on the place, and soon it will finish, and Russians cannot even encircle Kiev, not to take Kiev. About this, there is no even words about this. So I feel and I believe that we can hold the capital, we can hold Kiev. I will be here till the end, and if it will be needed, people like me with no military experience will fight for our city if Russians will penetrate. But for the moment, I believe that our army can stop them, like they already did, like they already stopped them on the in the town settlements of Kiev, in 20-30 kilometers from Kiev. So I think that they will try to encircle Kiev, but I think that they will fail, like they failed before.
Well, it has been something to watch, to see the strength of ordinary citizens like yourself who have taken up arms and are protecting their neighborhoods and defending their country. And please know that we are all watching you, and it is quite amazing, quite courageous.
We appreciate it very much. Thank you for covering and support.
We are going to go down to the Pentagon, where John Kirby has just stepped to the podium. Let's listen in.
Montana boy is out. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine.